So I'm just gonna try and clear some things up really quick. Um, I'll try to make this as cohesive as possible, but I'm not sure if that is going to happen. Um, so I'm in my tent and I'm all snuggled up and everything, but I just got a couple of things on my mind. So yesterday I started out on the trail again and I was feeling really good and really confident, and I was really happy to be finally starting the heel alternate trail. And I managed to call my boyfriend, and I was telling him, I was like, wow, I wish I had brought some whiskey, and so I could have a drink out here because that would be fun. And he was like, it sounds like you're getting too comfortable. And I was like, maybe, but I was growing confident, and I'm growing stronger every day, and so I guess I was getting comfortable and confident. And then today I woke up and my feet were really hurting pretty bad this morning, and I also just couldn't get out of second gear. I slept really, really good last night for the first time since the first night out here. And so that made me feel really good, but I was just kind of like a little, not low energy, but I don't know. Anyway, so I was only doing like a mile an hour, and I walk up and I see the registry, and I was like, oh my gosh, because I saw other videos of previous years where people have hiked this, and they always show, a little video of the registry. And so I was excited that I was finally getting to see it because I didn't know where it was. And while I'm signing it, I'm listening to my music because every time I sign a register for the trail, I always like to add in a lyric to the song I'm listening to. And so I look up and I'm like leaving, and I see this old man, and he's like, I could see he's like just like standing there smiling at me. And I took out my earbuds and I was like, hello. And he goes, hey, I was like trying to get your attention, but I thought you were deaf. And I was like, no, I'm not deaf. But he was like, I was like, wait a second, are you Doug the Hermit? And I'd read on the app that we use, like every hiker out here uses to navigate, it's got like all these GPS points. And if you just click on it, then it shows like what people who have previously been through there, what they commented, and like what they saw, or like, if it's supposed to be a water source, someone will comment that, hey, it's dry, so, pack extra water before you get here or something. Well, I saw on the comments last night, because I was going through and checking out the trail for the day, everybody was coming across this guy named Doug the Hermit. And he's a guy that lives out here in the wilderness, here as a Catholic hermit. And I was like, oh, that'd be so cool if I could see him. And I remember thinking that yesterday. And then today, when I saw him, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Because, like, I totally forgot about it. And he was like, I was like, so are you Doug the Hermit? He's like, yeah. And he was super high energy and super happy and super everything. And he's like, well, do you want the full tour? And I was like, absolutely. Like, I want to see how you're living out here and everything. And again, I saw on the comments from previous years, there's like 20 or 30 comments of people saying this guy is awesome, super nice, super hospitable. I know a lot of people who have stayed with him overnight and everything. And so I felt totally safe. Like, I knew this guy was harmless because people in my same situation have hung out with him. And so, we went in, checked out his little humble abode that he built himself. And he showed me his garden, and like he told me about like the difficulties of getting started. And he's been out here for 20 years. Well, the man was just so nice, and he offered me wine because he said someone gave him wine, but he doesn't even like wine. And so I had a little bit of his wine, and then we were just talking, and like he had like these sprouted seeds that he eats a lot. And so he let me have some of those, and and then he gave me like a little like twine thing with like the Saint Benedict, I don't know, medal on it, and I thought that was cool. He's like, I make these for all the hikers, and I give them to everyone who stops by. And I was like, oh well, thank you very much and everything. Long story short, I ended up being there for like 4 or 5 hours. And I was like, listen, like I gotta get down to the Gila, cause I want to get to Doc Campbell's tomorrow, and my friends are camped down at the Gila, so I really gotta get going. He's like, okay. And so I left, and all of a sudden, it was like, the trail has just been so shitty today. Like, last night and then today, all day pretty much, it's just been very hard to find. So I just want to, so far, I haven't regretted taking the Gila alternate trail, but I will say this, it's really hard to navigate right now because it's so overgrown and it's very up and down. And I hate hills. But anyway, so as soon as I left his place, it was again just like straight down, straight up, straight down, straight up. And I'm like fighting through these bushes, and I'm only going like a mile an hour. And so I left his place at like 5, and it was like 5, and then so then I stopped and I made myself like a quick dinner, just like a quick cold dinner of like a wrap and some bars, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna push hard until I get to the Gila tonight. Like night hiking, I can do it, and because I do it all the time in Eastern Kentucky. And then all of a sudden, this just like emotion just kind of took over me, and Greg, who's also hiking the trail with his wife Janice, they're I don't know how far behind they are, but I hiked with them on days 2 and 3, or days 1 and 2 actually. And he was like, the day 2 is always the hardest after you leave a resupply. And I think he's right, because I just don't know what happened. It was just, after I had my little dinner, I was starting to feel myself get stressed out, because I don't want a night hike, and I just wanted to be back down with my buddies. And even though I find them super annoying sometimes, and I just kind of want to get ahead of them and get away from them a lot, but tonight I found myself just really, really, really wanting to be camped next to them. And I don't know why, but I guess it's just because it feels safer. But anyway, I just like kept hiking, and I was going so slow and trying so hard. And I just want to warn anybody who does this in the future that this is, and people have told me this before, but I just want to reiterate it, that this is just as much of a mental journey as is a physical one. And I found myself kicking myself because I was upset that I didn't get as many miles in today as I was wanting to. And I knew, I was like, the sun's going to set, and I'm probably going to, and I knew that. Like, I was like, I know I'm going to quit. I know I'm going to set up camp because it's impossible to find the trail. And so I was really getting down on myself because I set goals for myself, and when I don't meet them, I beat myself up. And I started blaming myself, and I started saying, I shouldn't have hung out with Doug the Hermit. Like, yeah, he's a nice guy, but I shouldn't have hung out with him that long. And I started to feel, this is going to sound weird. So he 100% totally by the book, nice man. Like, I mean, I could call him Uncle Doug or something. But I found myself feeling slightly taken advantage of, and this is my own fault. I am now a young woman. I'm trying to finish this trail at least on or close to my 24th birthday. So I'm 23 now. I find myself struggling to not be so nice all the time. And I knew I was staying there longer than I wanted to. And he just kept talking, and he just kept telling me stories, and he was funny, and, you know, he was genuinely interested in, like, the people he meets and stuff, and I thought that was just so cool, and how he just figured out how to grow a garden and anyway, I started feeling like I was, like, manipulated because I'm a young girl by myself in the wilderness, and, you know, all I'm thinking of every day is where I'm going to the next place. Like, okay, I gotta Doc Campbell's, or I gotta get to Gila River tonight. You know, like, I'm always thinking forward motion. And when he showed up, I was like, oh, this will be like an awesome side adventure, and I want to experience everything I can experience. But with that being said, now I am alone, not with my buddies, and I wish I had the courage to say, listen, Doug, it was nice to meet you, after like half an hour, and just kept going. But because I'm still young and naive, and I haven't quite figured out I haven't really set into my stern gene yet. Like, I haven't figured out how to be straightforward with people as much as I want to be. I ended up staying longer. I also attribute that to being, I'm super smiley, and I smile a lot, and I'm super approachable, so I feel like people want to talk to me, and they feel comfortable talking to me, even though I don't really want to talk to them. So yeah. So I started kicking myself about that, and then I started to feel just missing home. So while I'm feeling like I was taken advantage of by myself, like I did that to myself in a way, I started to miss home. And being out here, it's been interesting because you can flip on a dime. Like, you can be so, like, insanely, you know, hugging trees, like, I don't know, like, just on top of the world, happy. And then, at least this has been my experience anyway, and then something will, like, flip in your mind, and you will crave home and miss home so much that you just feel like there's just like a hole, you know? So that happened, and I wanted nothing more to be home and with my boyfriend and stuff, and I hate the fact that every day I'm out here, you know, it's like my heart breaks a little bit more every day that I'm not with him. But I know I want to do this, and he knows I want to do this, and this is just part of growing up, I think, and I think it's part of getting stronger, and I think it's part of living a full adventurous life. You know, you can't always have a safety blanket with you. You can't always have those that you love taking care of you all the time. And so I think this is good for me. And so while that's going on, I'm just like bawling, crying, and I'm trying to find the trail, and the trail is so hard to find, and it's overgrown, and I'm fighting through bushes, and like I'm all scratched up, like my shirt is like scratched and everything from tonight, and I'm just feeling a little hopeless. And then like I remembered that, you know, Doug gave me this little twine with a piece of metal on it that he spent, I'm sure time and resources on making. And I mean, it's a simple little thing. And he gave me a piece of paper that tells me about the St. Benedictine medal for me to read, just so I knew about it. And to be honest, I was genuinely thankful when he did. I gave him a handful of ginger candy that I had, and he gave me that, and I was excited, but I also am really freaked out by religion. And while I was craving home, and while I was lost, and fighting the trail anyway, and while I was feeling weak-minded because I felt like I made a naive mistake today, staying too long, I took out this little souvenir he gave me, and I took out the piece of paper he gave me, and I threw it. And this was just because I felt like I had to rid myself of stuff that I'm not comfortable with. And when you're carrying everything you own in your pack, you become very close and very intimate with everything that you own. And it was those two things that I wasn't familiar with and that I'm not comfortable with. And I just threw them. And I know that that's very rude and everything, but that's what I had to do. So with that being said, I eventually was able to find the trail. I lost it several more times, and I found it several more times. And I am here now, and I've only got 22 miles until Doc Campbell's and about 50 river crossings ahead of me. But I'm hoping if I wake up early tomorrow morning and get down to the river, I'm hoping I can catch up with Jandals and Nightcrawler, and we can do some of those crossings together just because it's safer to do river crossings with more people. And I honestly have no idea what the river looks like right now. I don't know how deep it'll be or how fast it'll be moving, but that's my plan right now. So I know this is a rant, and if you watch this, I appreciate it. Or I don't know. I'm just putting it out there and trying to explain what is kind of going through my mind. So anyway, alright, I'm gonna get some sleep. Thank you.